It's December 9th, 2018. We're at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. With 7 seconds left and the ball at their own 31-yard line, the Miami Dolphins find themselves down 5 points against the New England Patriots. This deep in their own territory, the Dolphins need to pull off nothing short of a miracle to get a win. Well, if you believe in that sort of thing, hop on in and let's see what happens. We gotta rewind. With a chance to deliver a decisive pass for his team, Ryan Tannehill is in control of the Dolphins' destiny, which is pretty wild to think about considering how Tannehill got here. Before he was slinging the rock for the Dolphins, he was receiving it at Texas A&M University. After finishing third on the roster at QB his freshman year, Tannehill transitioned to wide receiver, which he was pretty solid at. Tannehill eventually got a shot at quarterback in his junior season though. Starting QB Gerard Johnson, who beat out Tannehill 2 years prior, began having turnover issues, so Tannehill got to split the reps in a Week 8 matchup. Tannehill rose to the occasion, playing great ball, and earned the starting gig the next week, never looking back from there. It might have been unexpected timing, but Tannehill knew the opportunity would come, and he had to be ready. Tannehill's upside out of college was attached to his physical attributes. He was a big quarterback with a strong arm, able to make every throw look effortless, paired with rare athleticism and the ability to put the ball on the money, something he actually attributed to his days of being a receiver. That high upside is what landed Tannehill in Miami when the Dolphins selected him 8th overall in the 2012 draft. A pick that NFL scouts thought might have been a bit of a reach. Not only because he started very few games in college, but because of that dirty little R word scouts love to attach to prospects. He was very raw. Miami was in desperate need of a franchise quarterback though, so they were ready to take the gamble. Tannehill's pick was the first time Miami used a first-round selection on a quarterback since drafting Dan Marino in 1983, a position that they've been chasing to replace since his retirement in 2000. Since Marino's retirement, the Dolphins have started 16 different quarterbacks before drafting Tannehill. This is a franchise whose most recent success came from running backs taking the majority of snaps. So taking a chance on a dude who was more of a project couldn't be the end of the world. While Tannehill's potential was off the charts, it translated to inconsistent play and losses in the pros. He would torch defenses over the top, showing flashes of that big arm, plus the athletic ability to move in the pocket, but when he was off, it was an ugly sight. Having one of the worst offensive lines in the league certainly didn't help, but in 2016, with new head coach Adam Gase, Tannehill was beginning to prove the doubters wrong. Behind Gase, who was the chosen quarterback whisperer, Tannehill was on the path of leading the Dolphins to their first playoff berth in nearly a decade. All that potential that Tannehill flashed was finally translating into actual wins for the Fins. The wheels seemed to finally be turning for Tannehill until a torn ACL cost him the rest of the season as well as the entire 2017 season. While he was hurt in 2017, at least the world got to experience this goofball, half-ass football for one more season. Anyways, set to return this 2018 season healthy, Gase announced that Tannehill would remain the starter. He felt that Tannehill possessed rare qualities that a lot of quarterbacks don't have, and that he needed time to keep playing to learn the game. In non-coach bullshit talk, Tannehill still had extreme potential. Potential can only get you so far though if you aren't healthy. And through just 5 games of this 2018 season, Tannehill suffered a right shoulder injury that kept him out for weeks. Tannehill obviously couldn't control getting hurt, but because of his mediocre play over the years, the Dolphins were ready to potentially move on. Now with his future undecided, back under center healthy, and ready to prove himself, Tannehill has the Dolphins 1 game back from a wildcard playoff spot as they face New England. the game essentially looks over. The Pats are smiling on the sideline, knowing they're 7 seconds and a simple stop away from getting the win. Tannehill needs to show off that arm now more than ever. The Patriots know that. Shit, even the announcers know it.
With 7 seconds, maybe you have time for a quick out and then a Hail Mary for Tannehill.
And look who your Hail Mary preventer is back at the 15-yard line. None other than Gronkowski.
Wait, Gronkowski is on the field? As in tight end Rob Gronkowski? What the hell is he doing out there? Gronk has some of the surest hands in the NFL. He's proven that all throughout his career and reminded the Dolphins in this game when he snatched the ball out of the air and came down with a touchdown through traffic. But why is he in the game now? As the announcer said, the Patriots are expecting the Finns to attempt a Hail Mary. The Hail Mary has been a long-standing last-second heave towards the end zone that has generated some of the NFL's most exciting plays. The term Hail Mary became common after the Cowboys beat the Vikings in the 1975 divisional round. Cowboys quarterback Roger Staubach launched a 50-yard pass and joked after the game that he closed his eyes and said a Hail Mary prayer. The pass has evolved over time with more precise techniques rather than a chaotic desperation heave. Some quarterbacks have even gone as far as finding the exact science to make the best throw. Regardless of new approaches though, the pass is never a guaranteed success, especially when defenses have also progressed. When a ball is thrown that deep, teams have put in their top receivers and tight ends on defense to maximize their ball skills in the air because that's just what they do. With Gronk's massive 6'6" frame, there are very few people who are going to outjump him. Sending the ball 70+ yards is a lot to ask, no matter how strong of an arm Tannehill has. Plus, it's even more difficult to do so when you look at Tannehill's options. Miami's receiving core lacks height. After losing some potent weapons due to injury, Tannehill has to look to who's available. Danny Amendola leads the team in catches with his reliable play and quickness. But he's been off this game, and standing at 5'11", he isn't the best deep ball option. Kenny Stills is another speedster with excellent hands, who's played extremely well this game, but in this situation, right at 6 feet tall, he's also not an ideal target. Devontae Parker is the tallest receiver at 6'3". He's got the right size and big play athleticism for this situation, but often goes missing in games and has been a no-show today. 6'6" rookie tight end Mike Gesicki would be a great option, but he lacks the speed of others to get down the field in time to make a play. So that leaves backup running back Kenyon Drake, who struggled to find his fit in Miami. The Dolphins drafted Drake in the 3rd round of the 2016 draft. Drake was a backup at the University of Alabama, and after suffering injuries in college, scouts believed Drake would amount to nothing more than a backup in the NFL as well. Drake heard the criticism, but was confident in his skill and was ready to do whatever he could to help Miami win games. Unfortunately, the scouts were right. In 2016, Drake split carries with a backfield that was more of a running back by committee. In 2017, Drake did start 6 games after the Dolphins traded Jay Ajayi, but still came very short of that coveted 1,000-yard season. Heading into 2018, Drake was slated to get his chance to be the predominant back until Miami acquired old man Frank Gore. While Drake is technically the backup, he's looked more like the 3rd option in this game against New England. Gore has toted the rock well, but the surprise production has come from undrafted former Patriot Brandon Bolden. Where Drake has excelled, though, is his ability as a receiver out of the backfield. With solid hands and quick feet, once Drake gets in the open field, he has no problem making defenders miss, finding his way into the end zone. That's why he's on the field right now. The Hail Mary is obvious. But with Tannehill surrounded by all this speed, there's another route the Dolphins can take. When teams find themselves in this situation, their other alternative is drawing up a lateral play. Teams practice these situations just as often as the Hail Mary. A legal lateral occurs when a player throws the ball backwards to a teammate in hopes they can find some open field. There have been successful lateral plays in the NFL, but generally they get very wacky, especially when more than one lateral is involved. However, the 2003 New Orleans Saints proved that it could be done. With 6 seconds left at their own 25-yard line, down 7 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Saints tossed the ball deep, but nowhere near the end zone. After a successful completion and shaking off defenders, chaos ensued and the lateral game began. After several broken tackles and multiple laterals later, the Saints ended up in the end zone. Executing a multilateral play to perfection ain't easy, and more times than not, it ends up in nothing. These very same Saints, years later, with a divisional playoff win on the line, completed one of the worst lateral plays in history. The lateral giveth and taketh away. There has never been a multilateral walk-off game-winning touchdown in NFL history. Football is weird though, and unusual things have happened. Even in this game, while it was mostly a shootout, Miami is fortunate to only be down by 5 points. New England's lead could have easily been double digits, but the Patriots have made some uncharacteristic mistakes. On special teams, the typical automatic kicker Stephen Gostkowski missed an extra point after their first touchdown. Then late in the second quarter, with a chance to extend their lead at the goal line, the typical heady Tom Brady took an ill-advised sack with no timeouts. In the third quarter, with another chance to push the lead, Gostkowski missed a routine 42-yard field goal. These were all opportunities that New England usually capitalizes on. But football is weird, and nothing is ever guaranteed. Throughout the Patriots' mishaps, the Dolphins have a chance to walk away with a win if they get in the end zone. It'd be a huge win against their long rival, pushing them closer to a playoff berth, but more importantly, it could help build confidence in their quarterback striving to reach his full potential. With Gronk on the field, the Patriots are expecting a Hail Mary, but the Dolphins are strapped with speed and could go another route. We've seen weird shit happen before, so let's see if this ending can cook up some madness. Welcome to a moment in history.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it, and this will end it after the shovel, or will it? Miami running around, circling. Oh, look out! Gronkowski didn't have the angle. Touchdown! Oh, Kenyon Drake! A miracle!
Hey, what up, gang? Thanks for watching. Looking at Gronk trip over his feet like a big old doofus is pure entertainment every time. But if you're a Patriots fan and you don't like that type of entertainment, well, your team wins a lot, so we got another video for you. And we also got plenty of more heat right over here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep coming back because we will keep coming with more videos.